The majority were pretty much our view, which is that this was never going to go anywhere. This was a disaster. These people are insane. They're radical religious zealot clerics that are imams who are basically running Iran to the ground, for that matter, that have hijacked it since the revolution by partnering with communists and rabid leftists that thought it would be a good idea to give power to and fight along Islamists.
They keep antagonizing us, and we're trying to be so nice. We're like that big brother that's just understands the little brother's a little crazy, and we're trying to hold out before we punch him in the face, you know? It's ridiculous. What's up, everybody? We are back. It is Bipicus and Lord V. This is going to be a multi-part series about the Iran war with the United States. We're going to be starting at the latest ceasefire, and we're going to keep going until this is over. All right, guys. So, Lord V, the beginning was when Trump thanked Xi Jinping and Putin for their absolute neutrality on Iran. The U.S. is forced to return frozen funds to Iran. The U.S. would like to conclude an agreement with Russia and China on reducing nuclear arsenals. If there's no agreement with Iran within 60 days, the U.S. will continue bombing. The U.S. is not demanding that Iran completely abandon its ballistic missiles and believes that they should have some missiles because others have them. The agreement with Iran, well, I guess it was signed like the day after or so. And that was kind of the start of this whole ceasefire memorandum of understanding debacle. So can you give a little bit more light on this, how it became to be and all that stuff?
Yeah, so basically Iran, eventually after getting bombed for quite a while, Trump kind of stopped and kind of pulled them to the table, and they were apparently in the background pleading with Trump for an agreement, saying that, this is, just a misunderstanding and that we can come to the table now and all this stuff after basically killing a bunch of the leadership. The problem is that people were saying that there's only more radical people behind them, and really there was like three different parties. There's two people claiming to be acting on behalf of the Ayatollah, and then there's a third party which is more of like a IRGC sort of backed part, where it's like an actual IRGC military guy who's just like throwing stuff around, asking to bomb left and right and to not make agreements, calling both parties in Tehran suit wearing people and that they're illegitimate and so on and so forth. One party claims that, we know the Ayatollah is alive and basically his son, and that we're talking to him still. And then the other party claims, no, we have letters from him and the letters dictate what we should do. But it obviously really wasn't going to go anywhere. The frozen funds thing, we should clarify, wasn't exactly that. It was that we would unfreeze about, I think it's like 300 billion or something around that worth of assets that we had effective control over, but it was later revealed that it would require them to go through us to purchase things like food and farm equipment for Iran. They couldn't just, use it for weapons and so on and so forth. There was going to be some type of filtration process there, which I obviously don't support whatsoever. We should not give this regime any money, and we said it from the very beginning that we shouldn't.
So how do you think Republicans took this ceasefire at the time?
So it was a split. The majority were pretty much our view, which is that this was never going to go anywhere. This was a disaster. These people are insane. They're radical religious zealot clerics that are imams who are basically running Iran to the ground, for that matter, that have hijacked it since the revolution by partnering with communists and rabid leftists that thought it would be a good idea to give power to and fight along Islamists, but they had no idea that Islamists weren't reasonable and they were a radical death cult. And then the other were a minority of Republicans and just right-leaning moderates, where they wanted some sort of peace agreement. They thought it would be fine, but they're basically fools that believe that these people can be reasoned with. They can't be. That's the reality. Whether you like it or not, you can't reason with Iran. the leadership that at least that was in power then, that's been mostly destroyed now, and those that are in power still to this day, who took the reins of power, although it's kind of fractured. Most of those parties are insane. They're you can't reason with them. So, but yeah, it was split. There's a minority that are like, yeah, whatever, we're for a peace president or whatever, and then the other ones, which are reasonable people, which is these people need to be dealt with. There's no agreement that will stand with them.
And how did the Democrats take this ceasefire?
Well, they couldn't complain because basically their argument the entire time was that, we need to make an agreement with these guys. We shouldn't be there at all. We should just leave. Oh, okay, well then you would obviously encourage the agreement, right? And then you had sort of the opposite where they would basically reverse their entire argument and go, oh no, now they can't be dealt with. Now we shouldn't give them any money. We shouldn't do anything. Even though Obama literally gave them billions of dollars with the nuclear deal, thinking that this would all be fine. And then Biden gave them more. And what did we see? We saw October 7th. We saw from the time Obama got in office all the way up to Biden, all the way up to October 7th, we just saw them killing, maiming, bombing innocent people and Americans. There's like over 1,000 Americans Iran has killed like over the last 40 years. They did targeted bombings and all the way to Beirut and so on and so forth. But yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, so then it goes to Vice President J.D. Vance talking with Iran, saying that our plan was to go to Switzerland. He didn't really know exactly when at the time. And basically they were going to talk about the nuclear stuff. They had a lot of technical negotiations going on. And basically they were trying to figure out exactly what was going to happen in the country. Let's go to the next tweet. Let's see. So then, right after he announces he's going to Switzerland, it gets postponed, citing that Israel attacked southern Lebanon, and then they blamed us for Israel attacking them, saying basically that we needed to get our guard dog off of them, and that...
Yeah, and here's the funny part. Yeah, here's the funny part, though, right? Here's the main part of this. It's actually, the way this actually went down, and it was completely left out, but it was recorded because every event... That's basically a breach of some sort of ceasefire or some sort of temporary understanding between Hezbollah or Hamas. It's actually recorded on the Israeli border, and there was like 4 different mortars, some sort of like missile, like short-range missiles that they were firing off, and drone attacks, and they also killed like 4 different Israeli soldiers. So that's how this all deteriorated. But most people are leaving that out because they don't want to do the research of actually understanding before they post stuff like this. But yeah, it was very clear. So basically, Iran and America are coming to the table, right? And then literally the day before, and they've done this 1,000 times over, from Hamas to the Houthis to Hezbollah, and Hezbollah and Hamas are the most known for this because they live right on the border, so it costs them nothing to cause trouble. But the day before, they do this, and then they make the media go, oh, actually, it wasn't us. It was Israel that did this. Yeah, well, you actually look into it. No, Hezbollah literally bombed Israel, hit them with drones, and then killed like 4 of their soldiers. So, yeah, that's what actually went down. That led to kind of an initial rumbling of it. But it still went through. Let's continue the next tab.
Boom. So then he arrives in Switzerland to lead the talks. And then, we agreed to the roadmap, 60 days or whatever, to figure out if we were the nuclear situation, correct?
Yeah, it's over. Mostly, getting them to drop the nukes.
Trump was like, oh, negotiations are great. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they were going horribly, actually. They made some good strides. They were willing to like give up nukes to some degree, but they still wanted like their nuclear energy, and they were even willing at one point to allow us to go in the country and then remove the former nuclear material, but it was to be agreed upon at a later date. It was a lot of hearsay, like, yeah, we'll do this, yeah, we'll do that. Not actual hard agreements of when things were actually going to happen. It was more of like, let's have a negotiation about future negotiations. It was doomed from the start.
And luckily, we didn't actually give any funds over, right?
We didn't. Nope,
Yeah.
we did not. It was just literally a negotiation for a negotiation to have an agreement. It was
So would it
absolutely
not have
ridiculous,
gone through until that final agreement?
Yeah, until all parties were met some amount of the agreement and fulfilled some amount of duties and requirements, would funds be potentially available. But again, those funds would not be released in cash. They would have to make a petition basically to the U.S. government. It's sort of like how Iraq is with their oil money, because we can't trust Iraq. They have people in basically Iran, although they've tried to resolve that issue. They've had a lot of Iranian politicians inside of Iraq, which Saddam kept out, surprisingly, so kind of ironic. But nothing was gonna be done really at the end of the day. But
honestly, it's sad because right after, we finally got everything signed, Trump is, kind of boasting about this ceasefire, everything, and then we immediately have to carry out airstrikes against the Iranian targets along the Strait of Hormuz because of the drones. So
and during this time, there's one thing to point out that it's often skipped, is there was actually a lot of tit for tat that was not talked about on the news. And Iran was kind of sending drones and like hitting random little targets in a lot of these third-party countries, the oil countries, but they weren't being brought up at all in the news. But they were hitting people still, and we were shooting down one-way attack drones in the process. And we shot down some UAV drones supposedly, but they're most likely probably one-way attack drones to some degree, or had probably some type of munitions on board. But we didn't ever actually stop fighting. It was pretty much consistent. Every other day, was some type of situation, but it wasn't really talked about on the news because it's become so normalized.
So we struck them after they struck that was a ship with a drone, and then we finally agree again to halt strikes on each other. And then JD Vance was going to go over there and talk to more people, I assume. And then let's see. Oh, and then we hear this. So was this confirmed to be real?
No, it was never confirmed. A lot of this is hearsay. I mean, first of all, you would have to be stupid to not think that Israel or America doesn't have plans to kill any one of the leadership in an enemy country that has a literal constitution that says death to America and death to Israel. That killed over 1,000 Americans over the last 40 years. That killed like 250 Americans in one go with one bomb in Lebanon. So it's like, it's ridiculous to even say this, because it's obvious that any reasonable intelligence agency would have assassination plans and packages already, profiles, all that stuff already gathered, ready to go whenever it needed to be used. So this is kind of
funny because they're running the same type of play right now, because just like an hour ago I saw that now Israel's telling us, oh yeah, Iran was trying to assassinate Trump.
So here's the interesting part of that. They're actually right, because Iran, just literally, I think yesterday or today, this morning, technically EST time, Iran bought big posters all over Tehran. Literally, it says, assassinate Trump and get $100 million. Whoa. So they put tons of them everywhere. So Israel said that after they did that, so it's like obvious.
Is it time to just
supposedly
end these people?
Israel
what the
said
fuck
that.
is going on, bro?
Yeah, it's obviously insane. So I don't know if Israel actually did warn them after the fact, because it was already so obvious. They literally had posters that said basically the IRGC would pay anyone who would assassinate Donald Trump $100 million or something like that. It was like $100 million.
Good luck. He has an angel on his back, knows what apparently.
It's in. Yeah, I know, he's survived so many assassination attempts. It's kind of stupid at this point. It's really stupid to even say that to the most powerful person on Earth. Yeah, with the most powerful military on Earth that has been bombing the shit out of you for the last how many months?
Us, and we're trying to be so nice. We're like that big brother that's just understands the little brother's a little crazy, and we're trying to hold out before we punch him in the face. Yeah,
it's
ridiculous.
Yeah, they're unreasonable people.
So they authorized the ceasefire talks with Washington after President Massoud, whatever that is, threatened to resign if they were rejected, warning Iran's economy was nearing collapse under the U.S. naval blockade. So basically, they needed us to open up the Strait of Hormuz again, or they were going to collapse.
Yep. And of course, we foolishly did. It's kind of like how in Vietnam we were like a week or 2 weeks away from the Soviets dropping support because it was so costly for the Soviet economy to basically fund the Viet Cong. And if we stayed in a little bit longer, they likely would have collapsed because they would have had no funds and they would have had no bullets, nothing to shoot at us, nothing to bomb us with, nothing to fly, no anti-air equipment, so on and so forth. So it likely would have gone pretty quickly if we kept it. We didn't fall into the whole isolationist, peace strategy. And it's like, compare Vietnam today to South Korea or Japan or Taiwan or Singapore. Yeah, it's just so wildly different. But, it's the same situation here. They were likely very close to collapse, and we gave them a big lifeline by allowing oil sales and giving them a little permission slip to sell some of their illicit terrorist funding oil to countries like China and so on and so forth. Although we technically sort of already let them do that for China, but it was allowing a greater pool that they could sell to.
It's crazy that they're basically underwater and they're still poking at us.
Yeah, they're drowning and they're going, we're gonna fight you as they're drowning.
I've never heard of this before. That's like, this is nuts.
Yeah, unreasonable. They're radical religious zealots.
Oh, and then so right after, they're launching another round of missiles. Let's even watch this. Oh my god. It's actually crazy.
Some people think that Iran, and have noted, I mean, it's likely true based on what we've literally seen video-wise coming out of Iran, that there is like this crazy split up and factions sort of in the IRGC, and obviously the government as well, and that some of these missiles are being fired by the crazies in on the IRGC, and so that's why you're not seeing like a crazy huge organized barrage like they were doing earlier. But at the same time, we could argue that it's because their stockpile has been basically diminished to near zero levels from us bombing them, and their ability to produce the weapons have been diminished substantially from bombing them as well.
Trump is saying that their military is handicapped.
What
would you say the state of their country is in right now? Like, are they even ready to fight us if we were to do a ground invasion or any other type of invasion?
So Karg Island is what we'd most likely go for, and before we'd go for Karg Island, what we'd probably have is like these sort of mobile cement and sand blocks that you would set up around there to get troops on the island, and then you would bomb the hell out of. You probably would do like a psyop saying there's tons of troops on the island, and then have them fire drones off around whatever part of Iran they can, where they can still reach the island, and then you would attack those areas, and then eventually we do an actual landing and set up some type of underground base or fortified position that can withstand whatever it can withstand, and set up anti-air, so on and so forth, and then you would effectively choke Iran's oil supply substantially, because basically that's where their distribution hub is. It's really Karg Island. And Trump himself in like the 1980s did an interview where he said people are surprised by this Iran thing and saying, we didn't think Trump was going to. What are you talking about? From the 80s, even potentially earlier, Trump is on video, on TV, on live camera going, here's how I deal with them. I'd bomb the shit out of them. I would then take Karg Island and take their oil assets and force them into submission. And that is how you actually deal with these people. People don't understand who we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with insane people. They don't make conscious, rational, understandable decisions. They make irrational, insane, completely incomprehensible decisions.
If you ask Democrats,
they're dumb.
They'll say that Trump's the crazy one.
Yeah, it's just because that's like their program. They're NPCs. They're programmed to run those lines. They don't actually. If you ask them, they don't actually have an argument for it. Like you ask them, well, how do you get people who are not leaving the country that you've asked them to leave multiple times? They're convicted rapists and murderers. Oh, well, you don't have to go to their house to pull and like upset the community. What are you talking about? So how do you get them? They're not coming to the police office. They're not reporting in. They've been told multiple times to leave. They know this, but they're refusing to leave, and they're violent criminals. So you obviously have to go wherever the hell they are and get them to leave. But if you ask leftists this, they won't actually reason this out. They won't go, okay, so how do you get someone who's telling you they don't want to leave out? Oh, you have to literally go to them and forcefully remove them or send them to Jesus. That's basically your only two options.
Just talk to them and everything will be okay. And they just don't understand how the world actually works. It's like how I feel about, a lot of people say you can't beat your kid, whatever. And I kind of agree to some, degree of that. But here's the thing. Some kids have a hard head. And sometimes you need to smack them on the head so that they can understand what life really is. And that's what we're about to do to Iran.
You can't act out. If you're dealing with a kid who's acting out to that degree and he's like really causing trouble, like there's parents who will literally call the police on their own kid and be like, yo, you have like the kid's getting out of hand. He's 12 years old now.
Scared
like
straight.
You have to scare them straight. So you have to be rough when you have to be rough. And in this case, you have to kill some people who obviously are trying to kill you.
And I'll tell you this, there's a couple times in my life where I thought about, hey, if I do this, I'm getting my ass beat. And I didn't do any of that shit.
You have strong parents. Like there's Lee Kuan Yew from Singapore has a really great line that I like. He's famous for many quotes, but this is one of his best, where any leader who rules Singapore, who guides Singapore, basically, who leads it, has to have that iron in him. So you have to be willing to make the tough choices. Democrats are not willing to make the tough choices. They're willing to make the ideologically insane ones.
They do it for PR, bro.
For example, we had Texas National Guard lay down barbed wire at the border to stop a massive migrant caravan of millions of people. And you know what the Biden administration did? The Biden administration, which is run by a committee, straight up communist style, committee decided basically what was happening in the country. Well, you know what the committee decided? To go there with with bulldozers, bulldoze the fence, and then pick up the barbed wire that the National Guard laid down that stopped migrants from coming over, to let in all of them. Just let them all in.
Welcome
it's
to
insanity.
the
It's
United
ideological
States.
insanity. Yeah, insane. It's insane. Half the country has lost touch with what it means to be American. They've been indoctrinated into hating America, to focusing on race-based politics and identity politics, and just absolutely extremely divisive, insane positions that are untenable and that will result in the death and the destruction of America, which you have now the DSA and these communists and socialists that are winning New York and California and Colorado. They're actively saying exactly that they want America to fall, they want the West to fall, they want the destruction of the West, they want the quote-unquote American empire to die, they want American imperialism to stop, so on and so forth. They're delusional, they're out of their mind. So it's the same deal with the Iranians. You can't reason with these people. They're insane.
They are very insane. And on that note, we will see you guys next time on part 2. We went through everything up until the violations, basically. So on part 2, we're going to talk about what happens because of these violations all the way up until today. All right, guys. So come back for part 2. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be bringing you guys content all the time. All right, guys. Don't forget to be moderate. See you guys next time.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, you heretics.